Hello and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to the Mercy Tiara 27-Day Challenge 2020 Winter Inspiration Challenges YouTube Hop. Try and say that quickly 3 times. So as has now become tradition for each of the seasonal challenge series, a whole group of my lovely YouTube scrappy friends, we get together to bring you a hop where each and every one of the challenges is represented. So we have a special little group so that we can all select the challenges beforehand and make sure that all of the challenges are covered. Some of the challenges are actually covered more than once, which is, you know, fun for some added inspiration. So grab yourself a coffee, some wine, some chocolate. Sit back because we have about 17 or more videos and projects for you today. We may also, you may hear through this video, there might be a little bit of a bonus challenge and a lovely, lovely new sponsor because there will be a prize maybe for this challenge as well. So, the challenge that I chose for today is the S is for recipe. And I started doing this, I certainly know I had one in the autumn series and maybe even in the summer series where, as the letter implies, we just choose a whole bunch of supplies or techniques or colors starting with the letter S. So this challenge is stamping, stenciling, or stitching, silver, sequins, stars, and 7 patterned papers. I stole that idea from my friend Amy from One Mommy Scrapping that we had to do on one of the Grab 5 challenges over in that group. So here is what I came up with for my page. And this, as you can tell, goes into Baby Diego's album. So it's been a little bit now since we've had a Baby Diego layout. So I thought I would get one up here. And you may also recognize the basic design of this layout. This one is one that's very, very quickly becoming a go-to design of mine. And it's based on the Stash Bash Layout Palooza that we had in January, the Secret Not Secret Kit Club, Christina's Stash Bash Palooza, which was a full day of creating, but rather than her normal layout palooza, we were stash bashing during this one. And so this kind of design has now become a favorite of mine, and I love it because basically it's a lot of pattern paper. Now I modify it all the time, and I'm going to show you another one in a little bit, just to refresh your memory if you've forgotten what this design looks like. So basically, I use a frame because, of course, I'm using my white cardstock as my background, and I've inked all the edges of my white cardstock here in, I think it's not quite navy is the color, it's a Stampin' Up! Ink. I've backed it then on a lovely frame. I'm using my Baby Diego album kit, of course, which is comprised mainly of some pebbles, some Pink Paisley Little Adventure, Lullaby from Pebbles. Is it Lullaby? I think it is. And of course, I gutted. I put all of this on another sturdier cardstock because this little paper here is flimsy. But I did gut this pattern paper, of course. So I started with getting that background down, and then the next thing I did was get my Paige Evans star stencil out, and I used this lovely silver glitter paste that I have, and I used the stencil. So I used it sort of all along down here, and then in 2 places here, because I basically knew that I would have a little bit of a cluster here, and I wanted sort of the stars to frame it and to come out from that little bit of a cluster here. So I got my silver star stencil out, and I did some stenciling in the background and then all the way up on this little bit. My papers here are cut at about 2.5, and I started by pretty much 2.5 by 6 or so, and then I just placed them so that they would be askew and offset, and so that the colors would also complement one another. And then they are put, I wouldn't call this a diagonal, but certainly on a little bit of an angle to give some added interest, which is why I put a little bit of the stenciling along the side here. So I got my paper strips down. Then I got my photo, which is, of course, in portrait mode. And I did my little bit of layering, as I always do, a couple of offset layers, a few little offset layers. And then I basically just framed it all or matted it all on white cardstock because I felt it was sort of just disappearing into the background. So firstly, I matted it in white cardstock, which I also inked with that not quite navy ink. And then I popped it up on foam so that there would be a little bit of a shadow. And then I went over to my punches and my die cutting machine and my Cuttlebug, basically. It's a manual machine. I don't have any kind of electronic die cutter. So these 3 stars are from a punch, and these 2 stars are dies. So I cut those out so that I could get myself a little bit of, and keep up sort of the star, which is one of the S's. So far we have the stenciling, the silver, the stars, and the 7 pattern papers. And in fact, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pattern papers on here. So I got my pattern papers down, and I did not ink all of these because I think I really thought that the differences in the colors were good enough, and that inking would really just draw your eye a little bit too much to the joins and where the papers met, so I did not ink my backgrounds. Then I took these papers and I just did a little bit of angling here, not really a tag, just a little bit of angling, and tucked those in here. I did ink this one because I did feel that it needed that extra little differentiation. Took some of the same pattern papers and I just did some fishtails here so that I could bring this out as a little bit of an embellishment area, and that left me just a perfect little nook. As you know, I love my nooks and crannies, to put 5 months. And instead of putting a period here, I put a little silver star, foam star. So I will probably go in and add the stats somewhere here. I'm not quite sure where I want to put them, so I'm still sort of thinking about that. So this monthly, his height, weight, and anything, just fun little facts. So I got the stars on to give, so that sort of gives me my little triangle, my title. And then for my finishing touches, I got this lovely Spiegel Mom Scraps Winter's Mist sequin mix out, and it has these beautiful blues, and it also has some little flat silver sequins as well. So I got the blues in the 2 shades of blues out, as well as the silver, and I just dotted randomly some sequins in the little areas. See, this was a little bit of a hole, so I filled it in with some fun little sequins. Wanted to get some over here as well, in between the stars, just to give a fun little pattern, another way where your eye can just follow through the entire layout and cross over the photo. So this is a really fun design, and this is definitely becoming one of my go-to designs. And that was my next item. So there you go. So stamping, stenciling, or stitching. I went with stenciling. The silver is on here with the foam, with these foam thickers here, and this little star, as well as the stenciling. the sequins, the stars, of course, and 7 or more pattern papers. Now, for your bonus challenge, we would like you, we normally have a scrap lift, and we're going to maintain that tradition. So scrap lift one of the projects from today's YouTube, any of the projects except change the orientation of the project. So for instance, if you would like to scrap lift this one, perhaps try it this way. Oh, I like that. Oh my gosh, I'm going to try that. I love that. Don't you like that? And I think this way you could maybe orient the photo as a portrait as well. You could certainly just do it this way or do it this way. So any of those ways. If you did it this way, I would definitely put the photo down here. I wouldn't use, I don't think, a 4x6. I would stick with a 6x4, or in this case, it's much smaller, but I would stick with the portrait, and I think I would probably put it down here. So there you go. So scrap lift any one of the projects that you see here today, change the orientation, and as is true to our tradition as well, this bonus challenge can be double dipped, which means that you can enter it in the album for the YouTube Pop Challenge itself, as well as the original challenge. So for instance, if you do scrap lift this one, and you also do the same challenge as me, you can enter it in the scrap lift and into the S is for recipe. Now, you could scrap lift me and use it for another challenge, for instance, maybe the storyteller challenge. Then you could enter it into the storyteller as well as the scrap lift. And I am thrilled to say that the lovely Jenny from Scrap and Happing Studios, those gorgeous epoxy flares, is sponsoring this YouTube Pop, and there will be a $10 gift certificate to her shop. All the details will be over in the Mercy Tiara 27-day Facebook group. If for some reason you have not joined us, pop on over there, join us. I will approve you as soon as you answer all of the lovely little questions. They're very easy, but please do answer them. Please also request your membership yourself and not just have somebody add you to the group, because I'm never really sure if you really want to be added or if it's somebody that just thinks that they're doing you a favor. So I tend to not approve those. So please make sure you're requesting yourself and answer the questions. Now, for just a fun little bit, let me just show you another layout that I did, if you recall this. And this was actually for one of the Scrap 5 challenges. And this was, I think, was it February's or maybe January's? I don't remember, but I certainly do remember that Scrap and Amy had chosen the 5 items that we needed to use. And that is what led me to use this layout, Stash Bash Palooza design. She had die cuts, the pattern papers, stamping, washi, and border punches, I think, were the other items that we had to use. So here is another example. And if you put them side to side, they are very similar, a little bit different in my clustering. But the basic premise here is there. I don't remember if that was actually in the original or exactly how I've modified it from the original, but it's still very close. And of course, I'm not going to show you that original because it was paid content. So there you go. So once again, please pop on down below, follow all of the links, have a wonderful time getting inspired and playing along with the challenges. You have until the end of the month. I hope everybody is staying healthy and safe during these little bit of crazy times that we're all going through right now. I hope you're healthy, safe, and I hope maybe it's giving you the silver lining of having some extra scrappy time. Please also, I will have the link to the Scrap and Happy Studio Etsy shop. down below and lots more information about her over in the group. So happy hopping. Thanks for being here. Bye.